Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum Auf die Fresse wie wXw Review Podcast in English. I'm Ian Hamilton, joined as always by Mike Kilby. Mike, how's it back from Switzerland?
It's a lot cheaper, for a start. Good. It was a well, if you didn't know, I was at the Women's Euros for the group stage, and it was an incredible experience. And I would recommend everybody do if they like football, everybody should go do a major international tournament if they haven't, because it's absolutely class. It's such a great vibe, and but it's a lot cheaper back in England, so I'm loving it.
Well, hopefully you've seen the one and only loss for England women in this tournament. Tempting fate there, but
potentially. It's just the frustrating thing about Switzerland is that you would wake up and you would go anywhere and you would interact with somebody and it's like, well, how is this interaction going to cost me 10 francs? Like, that's the sort of thing that would happen. But anyway, we were at one point, wasn't it, like the third most listened to wrestling podcast in Switzerland? So thank you. Your country's very lovely.
We've got to stay neutral and true Swiss spirit. But
exactly.
This past weekend, Costa wXw in Frankfurt for Broken Rules, a very gimmick match heavy show. You had a bodybag match, no ropes, no DQ, dog collar submission. So if you think wrestling within the ropes, 3 counts, etc., boring, this was the show for you. And as we're going to run through it. I guess we start with pre-show, a match which 5 years ago, Mike, was one of the big tentpoles of the pandemic WXW. Maris Harlani against Bobby Guns, this time for the European title. This time, Maris Harlani retaining, still got that long, a relatively long unbeaten run over Bobby Guns to retain the European title. And I thought, this I was kind of worried for a while on the main show. This was probably the best match of the night until we got to the second half.
Yeah, we normally sort of gloss over the fight for everything because it's a lot of, with respect, it tends to be a lot of sort of throwaway stuff. But I'd actually kind of give this my gold star, really. I think this was by far probably the best thing on the show this evening, on this sort of evening. I thought that they kind of proved that they have excellent chemistry. I think they always have done. They kind of broke into the business and WXW around the same sort of time. So there's an element of being a bit of forever rivals, and they've fought over the shotgun belt, they've fought over the world title, and now the European title. And they're a pairing that just generally work really well together. But I thought this was very, very good. Bobby Guns in particular. There's an adjective I love to use, which is his leg selling was Nathan Martin-esque, which is
yes.
If you watch Nathan Martin, sadly now retired, but if a young lad has managed to coin basically being held up as the best leg seller of all time, then well done, man. But yeah, it was an excellent leg sell, which sort of played into the finish where Alani sort of capitalized on it, and really, really good stuff. I would love to see a series of this, to be honest. I think this is the sort of thing where they could do like a best of 7, and I genuinely think it would be brilliant stuff.
I was looking back at their cage match, obviously Maris was away from WXW from 2021. 2020, pretty much as soon as we're back in front of crowds. They had run. Let me first start about and shite more than usual. So we had won the title during the lockdown shows, dropped it October 2021 to Axman, and that was pretty much what he did. Was at Leipzig the next day, and then that was him written out until the returns, the most recent return early this year. I'm looking at his most recent match of Guns. There is a run in 2019, back when Bobby was the Unified World Wrestling Champ, which they were pretty much working, I say every week, and it was every week as far as the WXW roster routine goes. I do not remember a bad match between these two. And when they put the tweet out at the back end last week with, this is on the Fight for the pre-show, my eyebrow raised a little bit because it's like, okay, I kind of get, people are going to be drawn to this, to watch the match and then sign up. But at the same time, it's like, that's also the part of the show a lot of people skip out on. So it was bold. I haven't seen the numbers to know whether it's worked. I know, obviously, live in English
What I
on
would say
Triller
is,
3
in a
and what
way,
have you.
what I would say to this is, I think it possibly is was a good idea to put it on, because I've been very easily able to link that and send it to people, and they can watch it. And the people who have watched it are the people who like that sort of wrestling. Because if this was a good wrestling match, I think not even sort of, oh, this is a good for a modern. This is just a good sort of, if you like that sort of thing, it's really, it's right up your street. And being able to link it and people going, WXW, they don't watch it outside a carrot. It was a very helpful thing to have, because
Yeah.
it's all well and good saying, oh, you need to check out XYZ from Wheel of Wrestling 69. It's the third match in the card. Oh, by the way, you have to sign up. It's a tenner.
Yeah.
Look, people aren't gonna do that. As much as we would love people to do that, people don't do that. I know for a fact, if I wasn't subscribed and people did that, I probably wouldn't. I'd be like, well, I'll catch it if I see it. But this was helpful because, it was the best match. I genuinely think it's one of the best matches that's been done in WXW outside of sort of the big title picture. If this was on a carrot weekend, I think we would have said, yeah, that was completely, that was a highlight of the first round or something like that. It's the sort of match that could have stood on one of the big festival weekenders without even being questioned.
Yeah.
So yeah, it got put in the graveyard slot, and I think it's kind of it's managed to. I'm hoping it's one that gets a little bit more traction over time. Obviously, it will need a bit of hard work from people like us, but
we'll have a link in the description for folks.
Yeah.
I mean, what I would say as well with this, was the finish. It was one of those that was decisive, but it also leaves the door wide open. 3 matches, finish. Throughout the match, Maris was working over Bobby's leg. Towards the end, Bobby had one last comeback. His knee gave out when he was doing a run up for PK. Straight down, caught an ankle lock for submission, finish there. So, and this was just over 12 minutes. And I know you texted me. I was late getting back from a weekend out. And it's like, oh, are these, are European title matches 15 minutes? Like, okay, they tease and a draw. And it's just a shotgun belt that has that time limit.
Because you hadn't watched it, and I was basically getting towards the end of it, and I was like, yeah, it was one worth shouting about for sure.
Yeah. Again, we'll have the link to the pre-show match. It's free on wXw's YouTube page in English and in German. But yeah, this one well worth your time. No quarter an hour of entrances, so nice bit of lunchtime wrestling for if you listen to this. The day this podcast drops. On to the main show, first of the many gimmick matches we had was a bodybag match. Joseph Fenech Jr. beating Anil Marek in shade under 10 minutes. This was one of those I felt just ticked the boxes to theoretically write off Anil Marek. Definitely, as we saw in the Shotgun vlog, after write off Robin Christopher Forwerk. And as a match, I didn't really think there was that much to it. Like, it was almost I'm using a house show as like a pejorative thing. Like, it wasn't, everyone was dogging it, but to me it just felt like it just didn't have that zip to it. Like, it hit all the notes, but, and this is maybe a theme of the Frankfurt crowd for most of the show, didn't really get into it.
Yeah, a bit of a damp squib, really. And if this great villainous faction is written off by something that happened in the opening match of a fairly cold opening match of a one of the B sort of premium events. Sorry, not premium events. Sorry, I accidentally did a Fedism there, didn't I? One of the marquee events, one of the sort of the less important ones. It's a bit of a damp squib way of ending sort of high performer limited if that is the way they've done it.
I think back in the day was at the marquee events and the feature events. So I think even back in the day, Broken Rules was one of the feature shows. But yeah, like I said, it checked all the boxes. But I think the finish, was it the draping DDT from Fennec to Marek. Forvik, teased coming in to make a save, but then just went, oh, screw this. Marek got put in the big body bag of doom. Fennec carted him out for building, threw him into the back of a Ford Transit van, and I assume, I guess that's the WXW equivalent of the FedEx box to OVW in Louisville.
Or
But then,
leaving Albert Square in a black cab.
well, at least he saw where he was going if you go in a black cab. But
Yeah.
afterwards, Fennec came back out, attacked Forvik some more, cannonball in the corner, draping DDT. Shotgun blog, Forvik was it liquidates high perform limit. So all intents and purposes, that's an end of an era from zero to hero back to zero, I guess. Was we said it was about this time last year? They made a few signings and they became the Nottingham Forest of WXW now. I don't know, hoping not for Sunderland of next year.
One thing that this does allow is this is pure speculation, but the next. There isn't anything before Shortcut, is there? It's just we're straight to Shortcut next, isn't it?
Yep, Shortcut's the next one, yeah.
Yeah. So if there was, for example, a former world champion who was a member of High Performer Limited, who is now seemingly up and running, if he was to be returning, he doesn't have the baggage of High Performer Limited hanging around. Of referring to Peter Tihani, it would be weird if he came back sort of, and they tried to do Babyface with High Performer Limited still sort of running around and kind of never really officially leaving.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
because obviously, back before
you can do a reset in a way, can't you?
Yeah, and obviously before Carrot, they were going into that big blood feud. So it'd be a bit weird, I guess, going back in, but strange things have happened. And anyone coming back is going to get the the babyface pop when they come out. So we'll see. I mean, I think that the New Wave Budapest Dojo camp was footage of him.
Yeah.
Not active, but at least part of the background. So we'll see. We've been very careful not to mention anything regarding timelines of a return. So it could be 2 weeks, it could be 2-3 weeks time, it could be 2-3 months. We'll see.
The only reason I say Tihani possibly back because he was in the ring without a shoulder sling on. So
yeah,
you can assume he's probably better than he was.
And hopefully that's the only former WXW former champion who comes back, who used to be part of High Perform Limited. We will say no more because next up we had Axel Tischer against Zazaya. This was another one for me I thought just never really got into higher gear. And with Zazaya and WXW, I mean, a year ago he was, I would say pretty much untouchable. He, just been, quote unquote, discovered by Rev Pro, had the the debut win over Michael Oku and then been really pushed hard. Since the turn of the year, it just feels like, I don't say the bloom's off the rose, it definitely feels like this kid glove's being used. Like, obviously, Rev Pro, he thinks against Jay Joshua a few weeks back, he's been beaten in the last man standing match, something that's a write-off. WXW, apart from that ambition win against Dieter Schwartz, they've all been losses, but you look at that lineup of opponents, Adam Priest, Marius Alani, Axman, it's almost like they're checking off names for him to go against, just in case he does go. Even though he's one of those, he's one of those names. We've got Mike D, Igor Blanc, having their farewell. Nothing's been said about Zazai, but it's almost like everyone's acting like, the report hasn't come out, so we're going to act like he is on that list.
I think there's a lot of the places that are booking him, like you say, very conservatively, and I think it's for that exact reason. Same way with maybe Leon Slater as well. Leon Slater, maybe he's got a bit of an exception, maybe with the way he's booked in RevPro, but I think him showing up in Noah in January was sort of the canary in the coal mine, in the sense of, yeah, he might not be long for the Indies, because although anybody, I don't mean this derogatorily, but you can get booked for Noah fairly easily, if you're talented. But there's also the question of, he's in the same conversation as people like Mike D and Ike Ogbonk when that conversation sort of perked up again. So with that in mind, it feels a little bit like, when like Will Ospreay was getting booked in WXW, and it was sort of not long after sort of Ospreay was sort of started to get the New Japan links. WXW called off on him. Well, they probably couldn't get couldn't get him for the bookings, probably, more than anything.
That was weird because, we were coming up, well, I forget how many years, but we did have that anniversary in July. Remember when the WXW New Japan cooperation, which I think that would have been just after they had Tanahashi Absolute Andy, and then that
it was announced without WXW knowing about it.
That would be why then.
So I don't know if so. Effectively, during one of the press things back when we did press, I believe Jacoby said, "Yes, we woke up one morning and that was announced, and we didn't know that was happening." So I tell you, there's that meme of the world if XYZ happened. I'd love to see the world that happened if WXW had kind of gone in with New Japan in the same way that RevPro had. Would we be getting CML guys now, or would there be an AEW link and things like that? But it's complete fantasy, isn't it? But
or even worse, House Default would be on all the WXW undercards.
House of Torture. Yeah.
But as for this one though, Maxman, Zazaya, again, like I said, I just don't think they ever hit in high gear. Like, the whole thing just seemed to be Axeman had more experience, which on paper, yeah, they did. He does. But in WXW canon these days, Axeman is mostly tag team wrestling. Unlike other promotions, that's not a slur. But yeah, just to me, just never felt like Cesaro really got his feet under the table. And I guess that's probably the analogy of his WXW time so far. Just a load of promise, just never really got going.
I think as much as WXW is the best place for him to go, really, like, he shouldn't be working anywhere apart from WXW, really, because there isn't anybody as professional. He's got other priorities, because he seems to be the sort of he's effectively holding the Iberian scene together. He's on every single show in Spain, which is brilliant for him, because if he doesn't have to fly elsewhere, and in reality, why shouldn't he try and build the Spanish scene? Because Romo did the same thing as well. But yeah, it's WXW, as much as I think we'd like it to be, it's not his main priority, is it? So he's kind of got to be in where he can.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, Zion not announced for anything coming up, so we'll see if this was, as some may suggest, a farewell. Next up, we had the team of Norman Harris and Alexander Bellamy going up against Planet Gojira for world tag titles. Earlier in the night, we had a pre-taped promo with Norman Harris, who somehow he was the goddamn ace of WXW, which, I think we had to send for man for Dan Malman there for that. Part of the interview, Norman said he had a knee injury, but he's not going to cry foul. He's going to work through it. And wouldn't you know it, he had to wear a knee brace, just like Robert Dreisker last time in Frankfurt. And of course, that was the story of the match. I think this was Alexander Bellamy's second main roster match. And I know Matt on the English commentary was, very much beside himself. This was Alexander's second match. Be not a big all-time star if he wins a tag title and just a second match in, but it does mean Norman's going to be champion again if that happens. But built up to a ref bump. Off came a knee brace that got used. Surprise, surprise. Ends up backfiring, of course. Bellamy ends up hitting Norman with it towards the end, leads to a finish. Planda Gojira retain, and guess that's pretty much the end of Norman Harris and tag partner of the month, at least in the tag title picture.
Yeah, I felt like they did seem to sort of tease that this wasn't a long-term thing. Bellamy's obviously this is his second sort of televised appearance, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah, he had Papenburg against Elijah Blum, and if he's done anything since, just doing a quick check, maybe a couple of Academy shows. So Papenburg would have been on May 3rd, and just scrolling through, we didn't do Dinkelspiel, obviously wasn't Driver Champions. So none on the main roster. Just check the Academy, because I know they have done some of the Rising Heat stuff. He would have done Heat in the Academy. We've had the quote-unquote graduation match against Robert Dreisk on May 7th. Obviously a loss there. Lost to LSG on an Academy show in Hagenbusch on May 21st, and then lost to Alpha Kevin the start of June on one of those Heat shows. So, yeah, still waiting for first W, but all intents and purposes, very early doors in his career.
Yeah, I think it's they've also already sort of confirmed Planet Gojira. They've confirmed Planet Gojira now for Tagfest, haven't they? So
yeah, a lot more teams will get that, but
yeah.
Planet Gojira in as one of the main entrants for Tag Tournament, which would expect will be single. Well, they have said single knockout elimination. Very unique tournament format, as some may say.
Yeah.
Next up, we had no ropes, no disqualification match. This was your first half main event, because we're not daft enough to put this in halfway through half the show and kill 20 minutes afterwards. Nero pinning Stephanie Mays in just under 13 minutes. And this was one where effectively Bloodsport rules, but a plunder. And I think we both said to each other at the time, this was Jane Nero's best match in wXw to date. And Stephanie Mays, had that match with Jessie J last year over Tag Festival weekend. She's got a knack of pulling out some underrated matches, especially when Plunder comes into play.
Yeah, I think Jane Nero kind of had the ambition match, didn't she, at Carrot, which she kind of got thrown into, but I thought it was worked very well, because she shouldn't be able to get anywhere near Masha. That's the reality of it.
Yeah,
I thought that was really well worked.
She got one brief exchange in, but it was pretty much a blowout.
Yeah, which is exactly how that match should go. And then likewise you had this one here, and I thought, yeah, she looked really, really credible in it, which is probably the most important thing. And her best WXW match, and probably by virtue her best match for her career. I haven't heard anything where they said, "Oh, this match in Dresden was better," but it's I thought this was a very, very good performance from Nero, especially with someone who, as far as I know, has not been wrestling that long. So yeah, I can't really fault her at all, really. Here, I think it exceeded my expectations, like, significantly. I did not expect it to be this good. And yeah, we're basically fairly unanimous with this one, aren't we?
Looking cage match, Jane Nero's coming to a second year in wrestling, debuted August 2023. So, and what I will say is, historically, the big knock in the German scene in general is, you make a debut, you'll stay in the promotion you're in, and that's it. You look at Jane Nero; she's been putting shifts. Yeah, I mean, this is just 2025. You're looking at, obviously, wXw Championship of Wrestling in Saarland, Fight back in Frankfurt. She did that was RSW in Brandenburg, Central Wrestling Germany in Göttingen last month. Wrestling Cult obviously goes in hand in hand. Euphoria, GWP, GWF, TAW. So all the Urara, PW, in Austria. So she's not just doing one area. She is putting the miles in, and the improvements from day one in WXW. I mean, is it it's the thing I always say, you have to put the reps in to get better, and it's got to be against different people. If you're
Good
doing
people.
the same, if you're doing your traveling match with the other person you trained with, you're going to stay at that level, more often than not. But the fact, it's against such a breadth of opponents. It's, the mixed, she's done intergender stuff, the mixed tags. But you're looking like, if you look through just the cage match, the cage match listing, like, obviously Stephanie Mays, when COW, Jackie Go and Keith Vabambi, there's a name I thought had long since retired. Amal, Cult, in May. Diana Strong, who's got Mercedes Money this weekend in Poland. Madsen Marley, who's over in Japan, is it Marvelous, I believe it is for the moment. Also, just a lot of names. Baby Allison, Katie Harvey, if you want to go over to the folks in Ireland. So again, it's not just even staying in Germany, in mainland Germany, mainland Europe. So yeah, the effort's being put in. It's starting to reap rewards, and was that promo was a few months back on WXW. She wants to make herself a name in WXW. She wants to be more than just another replacement. And that's been woven into the story really well. She was the replacement again, for Stephanie Mays back at Cowder Weekend. Now she's eclipsed her. And where we go from here, who knows? Obviously, Femme Fatale in 2 months' time over Pro Wrestling Grand Prix weekend. You'd have to say, maybe one of the favourites just because of how she's been handled in WXW lately.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, I can't disagree with any of that. I think going into Femme Fatale, I think they probably do need a couple more announcements. Because we don't know. We're assuming 8 people, aren't we?
I believe they've said 8, and it'd be like the same single elimination tournament. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's it'll be interesting to see how she does. And I think there's a handful of people I would very much like to be in that tournament who haven't been announced yet. So we'll see.
Only 3 slots left.
Yeah. So if we get 1 or 2 of them, I'd be very happy.
After the interval, we came back with the newly christened team of The Grind, Lawrence Roman and Nick Schreier, beating Igel Blanc and Michael Olku. This went a little bit longer than I would have liked, but I think this is one where, Igel Blanc's on the way out, so, you're expecting him to take the fall here. The fact that Roman and Schreier have now got a team name and an entrance, okay, the look is maybe a bit, what they say, white meat, baby face, maybe a bit too much for my liking.
They got match and gear as well.
Match and gear as well. You'd have to think by default that, they may be one of the quote-unquote home favourites of a tag tournament. Just because of the way things go, they've been tagging for a while, but now you have a name, you're branded, not like that. That tends to be the sign of, we consider you more than just, thrown together tandem. It's a shame, obviously, Mike D going, we're not going to see the end of the Nelson, Muntz, Martin Prince combo of those two, but certainly, being tagged with Lawrence Roman, he's a lot more likely to get wins, I would say, in this particular format.
Yes. So the new name, The Grind, I'm not sure. It's a bit Jake Humphrey for me.
Yeah, to me it came across
That's
as
a reference that probably doesn't travel.
Yeah. There's another comparison I'll use, which will probably get us on a block list for the promotion Berlin. You can put 2 and 2 together. At least it's not sort of Blackout, Roman and Stephanie Mays, which, I mean, it's a name. I get where they're going. It just, to me, just doesn't, I'm going to be proven wrong as soon as I say this. It's probably not one you can see on a lot of T-shirts. It's not something you can see marketable. No. But again, it's better than the combination of, which was pretty much what we were before. But yeah, and there's a match, like I said, it was fine. It was another one. It overshot its welcome, I guess you would say. This was more. It was trying to do two things. There's one trying to be Idle Blanc's, final hurrah in Frankfurt, but also, establish this team, a bit more. So, it did both. I guess we'll touch on the shotgun vlog, what we're going to do for Idle Blanc and Mike D's farewell. That one, I must say, I'm not a big fan of the way they've gone, but we can get on to that in a second. Main event, dog collar submission match. Elijah Blum, at this point, I have to say, upsetting Ahura. Referee stoppage in about half an hour. This was Elijah's, he was back in his element here with a plunder. Being used as a human pincushion. Ahura, being the shitbag heel, taking up the chain, and then forgetting to take it off when he went to do a dive later on with the chain under the rope, which was never going to end well, and it didn't here. The only thing I didn't like about this, you called a submission match and then the ref stoppage. And I know that's a wrestling-wide thing. I think wrestling in general just needs to get away from, we're not going to have our guys submit, we're going to have referees stop it, because it's not quite as bad as it was a few years back, where every battle royal had someone hide under the ring, or Rev Pro did with their Rumble a few weeks back. Guy goes out, quote unquote, injured. The guy's won. But the injured guy comes back. It's a fake out. I'd like this being a little bit more conclusive. And the fact that we've got Bloom and Ahura trading wins back and forth is making me think Tag Festival weekend. Tag Festival. I'm going to keep calling about. Just got away from Tag League, but Grand Prix weekend. The Saturday night main event, they've said, is going to be the Unified World Wrestling title match. It's going to be three-way, Manders and these two. Just from the way this has been put across, I can see, whether it's Ahura winning at shortcut for top, and Bloom winning the shortcut match itself, and Manders getting a rematch. The way they've been trading pins back, wins back and forth, that's the only thing you can do, I'd guess.
Yeah, unless you throw somebody in extra like Tahani or something, maybe. But you could have Tahani coming in and trying to screw Bloom over again, maybe.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
And obviously, Cowboy Way, not announced yet for Tag Festival, maybe after shortcut if Manders loses the belt. That's the next big announcement. Or, would they have Manders do, both title match and tag tournament? I mean, you do get the odd people doing that during Carrot. We do Ambition and Carrot, but we'll see. But like I say, another plunder match for Bloom, who is getting very comfortable with these. What I would say is, my issues for finish notwithstanding, this has very much become the marquee storyline for wXw this year. When you think just over a year ago, Ahura had only just come back, and heck, the start of this year was meant to be Tahani Bloom, so it's something which 18 months ago we couldn't have been a feud. They've done a hell of a job making this something that means something as well.
Yeah, exactly, and kind of out of nowhere as well.
But next, had finished, was a referee stoppage. And again, a lot of chain assisted stuff, a lot of drawing pins. Really worth it. And if you've got for wXw now, Triller, or even now IWTV, we'll get onto that. Well worth your time. The Marius Bobby Guns match is free, not on IWTV, some wXw YouTube, so well worth going. We'll put that in the notes. But a couple of tidbits from the Shotgun vlog afterwards. They're keeping the Ahura Leah Bloom stuff going, because Ahura, as you'd expect, I didn't submit, referee screwed me over this, got for damn to promotion. Bloom's just getting fed up for Ahura and not taking anything seriously, so this feud will continue. Axeman's upset at Hector for being lazy for taking paternity leave. So you're getting a match between them two. Shortcut. Jane Nero wants to win Femme Fatales, and as we mentioned, Robin Christopher Vorwerk liquidating High Performer Limited. Sucks to be a small business owner in North Rhine-Westphalia these days, hey? couple of news bits. I've mentioned, of course, World Tag Team Tournament, part of Pro Wrestling Grand Prix coming up in September. Planet Gojira, they've, of course, be reigning wXw World Tag Champions. They're part of it. As are the new OTT Tag Champions, the Hype Dogs of Mecha and Kuro, who they've done some spot shows, I think. Kuro's done a bit more, Mecha, not so much. But they're a new addition to the lineup alongside Violence is Forever, the Greedy Souls, and Dragon Kid and Dragon Deer. There's 5 V8 teams there. Stephanie Mays, Jane Nero, and Emerson Jane have been added to Femme Fatale. We already had Layla Hirsch and Sapphire Reed, so 5 of 8 there as well. Koenig to Catcher, they announced that Hector Invictus and Maris Alani will be heading up a block each. Now, of course, I guess if Axeman wins the Shotgun belt, I don't know if he takes a spot, but the way it was announced was Shotgun champion in one block, European champion in another. So you'd expect that one of them will be taking a loss in a round robin format, and they'll set up a title match. Maybe anniversary on the anniversary tour, anniversary show itself. And announced for that so far, we have got, of course, Alani and Hector, Adam Priest, and Francesco Akira, and they're drawn 2 blocks of 4, so yeah, we need a few more names than you'd expect after a shortcut falls would pop up as well. Elsewhere for Pro Wrestling Grand Prix weekend, a few more announcements for the Extreme Wrestling Party. Matthew Justice and Emerson Jane in a 4 Corners of Pain match, cage with weapons in each corner. I think Super Crazy and Green Phantoms there. Of course, we mentioned last month or last time out, Iceman and Mike Schwartz in a Fan Brings Weapons match, which, that's going to be fun for security. Hey,
there's some sketchy things going on in Oberhausen After Dark without people bringing weapons to a show at midnight.
Yeah. Of course, Matthew Justice, he's coming a little bit earlier. He got announced for Wheel of Wrestling 17 Bad Hersfeld. That's week 4 Pro Wrestling Grand Prix. Bunch more announcements.
Let's say, what is the bet in the security aren't going to get the memo for that?
Very high. Especially...
They're not like Rev Pro York Hall level, but like they're quite... they can be quite intense, them security at the Oberhausen. So like, we have to work out what is the likelihood they're not going to understand this.
There is going to be, I would suspect, on the preview video.
Somebody's going to bring something stupid. That's the thing.
Yeah. And
then they're going to get like arrested or something.
Yeah. You're going to have Mark and Met on the preview YouTube stream, what I assume they will do, and the ghost of Robin Christopher Forwerk. Use your common sense. There'll be some kind of a warning put out. Like when Progress did it years back, and you ended up all kind of.
When Progress say don't craft things and bring it on the tube, like obviously.
Oh God, yeah, you can have someone. Yeah, because the Young Bucks have done it. The drawing pin laden trainers. You're going to get someone's going to do that and bring them a Deutsche Bahn. Oh my, yeah, this could get very nasty if people don't use their common sense. But yeah, we'll see. What comes out. You'd expect to be some kind of use your brain cells. Don't bring stuff which you've got no use for that's broken. Your cheap keyboard from the office that's knackered. Yeah, bring that. Don't bring grandfather clock. Don't bring razor blade encrusted melons or whatever the hell. But
there's nothing wrong with bringing a grandfather clock.
Yeah, but remember in Turbine Hall 2, good luck getting up the stairs.
That's Yilmaz's problem, isn't
it? He'll thank you for that, I'm sure. But yeah, so
and that makes us bring the most awkward thing possible.
We've got 2 months to think. Of course, after.
No, I'm thinking I've got that Friday. I've got that Friday to go around the junk shops in Oberhausen to buy something ridiculous.
Oh,
can we get a guitar somewhere?
Oh God, we're going to do the Honky Tonk Man thing, not gimmick it. Yeah. Just make sure we put like a whole load of talcum powder in and make sure security don't spot it and think you're trying to sneak something else in.
Yeah.
So, of course, after Pro Wrestling Grand Prix, the 25th anniversary tour is going to be taking full swing. Shigehiro Irie has been announced for 10 dates on that tour, so I assume that means he's not going to be part of the Pro Wrestling Grand Prix. So he's going to be in Frankfurt on November 8th, Gotha on the 13th, Magdeburg on the 14th, Limbach Oberfron on the 15th, Leipzig on the 16th. Hang on, 4 days in a row for wXw. So it's 2016.
Fantastic.
Hamburg, that's the double header of the Marketon, the Grünspan before the Grünspan goes in for renovation. Not say like has renovations, it's not like it's being dismantled and shipped off overseas. Bad Sacking November 29th, Borken December 12th, and then the anniversary show itself at Turbine Hall in Oberhausen on December 13th. That's refreshingly not the day before Christmas. That might actually be doable, being that far out.
Looks a lot more doable, yeah.
Announced earlier today, wXw have agreed a partnership or reached a partnership with West Coast Pro and their training school. There's an announcement tweet, a little bit light in details, but basically it's going to be something akin to an international exchange program. So guys from West Coast Pro going to Germany.
CDW, I think.
Yeah. On top of this one won't go as badly for West Coast Pro. Now, I noticed West Coast. I know the American Indies were a little bit complex. I know West Coast Pro and Prestige and Deadlock, they're part of one conglomeration loosely. There's like Deadlock guys and West Coast Pros guys doing Marvelous. Was it? Oh, what the hell's the guy's name? Starboy Charlie. I think he's done stuff over there for Marvelous. So this is the kind of thing where on the surface you're looking like, you're looking at maybe Alexander Bellamy going over to California. But you look at what's heck, Ryan Clancy's just come back from a tour with
Ryan Clancy does. Ryan Clancy's West Coast Pro, isn't he? So.
No, originally Northeast Indies, but he's done there. Types Alexander's the name I was thinking of. Was one
Kevin
who's Kevin Blackwood, Masashi Tanaka, obviously he's just done wXw Swing, of course he's not West Coast Pro guy, but there's a link there. Amira, not that one, part of Marvelous and West Coast Pro and that whole scene. So there's it's a lot more than it's two training schools. So definitely want to keep an eye out on West Coast Pro, one of the more regarded promotions of the American Indies. Certainly, in the PWG days, they're one of those that a lot of people speak nice and highly of. So, we're keeping an eye on this one and see if this gets a lot more legs under it than the New Japan partnership we spoke of. At least wXw and saw Felix Kohlenberg actually acknowledge this one, so it's a step better than the New Japan one.
It'd be good if there was a route in for a few of the lasses from Marvelous. To be honest, actually, if you could get Senka Akatsuki over, that'd be a good one.
Capitalize on that Mania match from earlier this year, definitely.
Just get Aja Kong over.
Your H name for Femme Fatale.
She's the sort of person I could see turning up over Carrot. She's the sort of person who could get in the first round and then just plays around for the rest of it.
Of course, going back to the past as well. So, this was 2018, back when it was called Powerbomb. wXw was on IWTV. It was like episodes of Shotgun. Then whatever machinations were, they signed a WWE deal. They got pulled. This past weekend, wXw returned to Independent Wrestling.tv. And so it's basically a third platform. I think they're basically trying to get in as much as they can. As of right now, it's every Carrot since 2016, every Ambition show that's made tape, Drive of Champions, and early today, Broken Rules. So if you've got IWTV for your Beyonds, ICW No Holds Barred, the Scenic City Invitation was this past weekend. wXW's slowly making a part of their catalogue. No official word on what else is going to be going. They've just said, maybe some stuff from the past. Maybe that's where the old Shotguns end up. They're not doing live on IWTV at this point. That's just going to be wXW now and Triller for the foreseeable. But of course, that's the the millstone around Triller's neck just seems to be when are they going away, because just constant speculation about them. And the wXW Triller deal, I think, is hitting a year old. It's shortcut for top next month. So if it was a timed one, that may be it, but we'll see. But for now, wXW now and two other all-you-can-eat platforms to get your wXW fix. And I guess,
Well,
and finally,
Triller's not financially. I think Triller's not looking too hot, is it? It's
no constant stuff
I
like the
saw there
missing
was
filings, and
yeah
it's not just
the
one.
filing didn't look too good. So
Stuff like promotions. Again, you had this on the IWTV side as well, but no speculation chat promotions not being paid, promotions coming and going. And I think this is the new normal when it comes to like the wrestling streamers. You can have those who get some kind of signing bonus will take for the exposure, hopefully convert to their platform, and then come to go like the Black Label Pro seems to have bounced across all of them. A IWV Ohio-based one's done the same kind of thing. And I think as long as you do have IWTV and Triller a big two at the moment, you're going to see that, I guess, for the foreseeable. But one last tidbit, speaking of Femme Fatales, one name who not announced yet, but certainly has made inroads to being part of it. I think we spoke about this last time. Or she made a comeback match last month for HCW against Millie McKenzie. That match got put up on the HCW YouTube channel for free, and for someone who hasn't been particularly active for a good few years, perfectly fine. I'm not gonna say, oh, she's back, she's at her best, or no, she's lost her fastball, what have you, after one match. She has done Passion Pro as well recently, and I believe it's like a freeway for HCW has been announced as well. So that clearly not a one and done.
yeah, it appeals like well, I haven't seen the match yet, but like you say, her getting back into things is only a positive. Because I don't say this lightly, but I think she was one of the most exciting sort of prospects in Europe when she was wrestling last, and it was a real shame to see them disappear so suddenly. I mean, it was for good reason. She was getting married, and but yeah, it's I don't want to. She doesn't need to rush back if she doesn't. If she doesn't feel she needs to rush back, or she's only doing bits here and there, then good for her. But it's only a net positive for her to be around because I think she is. There's people who have it like the star, the X factor, and she's someone who has that, and brilliant to see her back.
And hopefully, that one was put on the HW YouTube. That Passion Pro one they usually leak out the Budapest Dojo show, so certainly it's not going to be heavily hidden behind a paywall. So up next, Shock at the Top. Turbine Hall Oberhausen, August 16th. The whole card got announced to that on the Shotgun vlog. Of course, we've got the eponymous Shortcut of the Top match, and looking at the rest of this card, you're going to be looking at a lot of names coming in just for this one shot. Like, rule out Mike D and Nigel Blanc, and whoever wins the Ahura Manders, you're not going to have a champion in this. You'd maybe expect Lee Bloom to be part of this. Stephanie Mays, Joseph Fennick Jr. called for shots. After that, you're going to be digging in for a lot of extras. Like you'd expect maybe like a Leon Slater, Michael Oku, if they're going to be part of this, they would have been advertised. Zaya potentially. We've not seen Lavanya, we haven't seen Metahan for a while. But then after that, you're looking at your Norman Harris, Alexander Bellamy, Mudo. Maybe going a little bit deeper. M4, Palawan Nima, Yokai, Kuro, Mecha, Zoltan, Dieter Schwartz. It just feels like this is one where, and again, we've got a couple of weeks, but because they haven't really announced many names outside of, the I'm going to win the Royal Rumble style promos, this is a wide open field, and I think intentionally so.
Yeah, I can't sort of pick a name out of the air like I maybe did a few times in the past. It does nothing's really sort of screaming out at me at the moment. I think if he was to get a Tihani return, I think that would work very well. But likewise, there's opportunities for people who we've not seen for many months to come in, and you think about a Levan. Could you get an Irie coming in? Quite possibly. A return from could you get a complete debut? Could you get like a Fabian Eichner come in? That's someone that could possibly,
Yep.
you're throwing names out there ultimately, but there's not an obvious winner, which maybe in previous years there's been people like, yeah, it's two or three people, I think probably one of those, but I don't feel there is that this year, which is interesting because I always there's times when WXW doesn't really know what direction it's going to, or but there's also times when the direction is so obvious and you're just like, well, come on, get to it. But
Yeah,
when I don't think there's an obvious thing, it's quite interesting to see. I'm excited because I don't know what's going to happen, which could be disaster. But when we had Mike Schwartz win it, that was completely left field. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, and at least that time, they weren't having to sell tickets. They had, what was it, the Disco Vamorai, or I've butchered that, I know, but at
yeah,
least had vows to do the Disco Brawl with Bobby Guns in the COVID era. So, but yeah, we'll see what comes up. I mean, I was looking through, like, obviously names, and one thing we perhaps skipped over on the Broken Rules stuff, there's a lot of names being written out. Broken Rules and Shortcut, and obviously Marek, Forwerk, losing Idol, Mike D. So there's a lot of spots on the card for people to step back into, whether it's brand new or returning. And something else I did forget to put in the notes, which I just want to make a shout out for Aaron Insane, who did commentary for the German feed of Broken Rules. I believe he's out on the shelf. I think it's like a neck injury with some paralysis, which anytime you hear that, in general, let alone in wrestling, that puts the fear of God into you. So, just want to send best wishes for Aaron Insane for a full and speedy recovery. Because yeah, especially sort of carried the whole thing of being going for sort of 15 years. Ideally, you don't want anyone retiring through not where they want to go out anyway.
no, nothing.
Elsewhere in the
Yeah,
card,
you
of
want
course,
to you want to end it on your own terms.
Yeah. Of course, main event for a shortcut going back to that, Ahura, one called Mandis for the unified title. We have got Hector against Axel Tischer for the shotgun belt, Maris Alani against LJ Cleary for the European title. We've got Igel Blanc and Mike DeVeco's farewell match with Igel Blanc and the grind against Mike D and Planet Kajira, which I'd have liked to have seen this be something different. Like, you've got two guys going like, so one of them's got to lose because we're on opposite sides. But I would have liked him, like I don't even know a name, which is probably not going to be helpful with this argument, but I've liked him to use this to at least try and put this out as they lost to so and so on the way out, like whereas Mike D beaten by Nick Schreier, and because you had all those, you do your training, you do this, well now you've beaten me, have that as like a seal of approval. I mean, this match will be fine. I can see it being more of like a party catch match than a IR series, hold the tag rope kind of stuff. How would you have done this? Because I personally would have liked them to have done whether they said it was one match, but whether some like Mike something where it was Mike D or Nick Schreier getting the win. Maybe that is it. But to me, this just feels like it's a lot of established guys, and the only one who's really got a shot of getting anything is like exposure away or getting the rub, so to speak, as we're going, is Nick Schreier. But to me, this just feels like I would have been expecting something else, but I also don't know what I could have been expecting here.
Yeah, it seems to be a good way of getting a loss against Planet Gajira from a new team heading into Tagfest. I think that's a
Yeah.
very it's a very shrewd way of maybe doing it. You put a bit of niggle in the midst. It means that there's a little bit of bite to a potential sort of first or second round match if they did do it. Ultimately, what else could you do with these two? It seems a little bit like like the Japanese farewell matches where they do the big multi-mans, isn't it? It's when people leave New Japan or whatever, and they do a big sort of goodbye, and they get together people they've worked with in the past. It seems a
Maybe
bit
that could have
like
been
that.
shortcut. Have just one, sort of the shortcut matches. Have it be, 5-minute matches against everyone. Mike D
Well,
versus Bobby Guns against Maris Alani. I'm pulling your leg, but it's like, just in terms
yeah,
of what they could have had, it just feels like I don't know. I get where we're going with the same point. It's like I would prefer something else, but obviously can't say what. Just me, just feels like a bit these the last bits of the jigsaw left kind of match. But we'll see what they come out with. And of course, the other match on the card, Bobby Guns against Kid Bandit, which was not a match I had on my bingo card.
She's worked. Kid Bandit has worked in Japan. Hasn't
Yes, and I'm just going
That's
to
probably
check
why then.
now. Oh God, the Bobby Guns against Japanese experience. Yeah, she did a run in 0-1 back in May. For the moment, she's in a tour of Europe. I know she did True Grit, I want to say it was, against Commander Sterling this past weekend. But yeah, timeline, she's all over the place, match-wise anyway. Yeah, so I mean, again, Kid Bandit, for those who maybe aren't familiar, was one who came up through the was a Nightmare Factory back when Cody was part of AEW, and it's kind of been a build from there. Just trying to say, this isn't her first trip to Europe, because I remember she had that match with Warhorse against Lykai at Progress about 3 years ago now. God, that time flies. And when I do not have any recollection of even hearing about, Will Cruz at North Wrestling, which is, as the kids say, certainly a match. But yeah, so that's right. And of course, also a shortcut, we've got that Dennis Stolnick addressing the crowd segment, which I think a lot of people are maybe suggesting that's a retirement just based on the fact of how much radio silence there has been since he picked up a head injury back in, I believe, February. So we'll see what comes of that. Then after that, Wheel of Wrestling 70, we Stadthalle and Bad Herzfeld, September 19th with Matthew Justice, Rest Card DBC. And then, of course, Pro Wrestling Grand Prix. Of course, we'll have a preview episode some point after the shortcut at the top before the Bad Herzfeld show. Just turn on times. It ain't going to happen. If you are umming and ahhing, because we are effectively 2 months out, tickets for Inner Circle, plenty of availability there for September 25th. That's the last one in Gelsenkirchen. I'll rephrase that. This one's in Gelsenkirchen. Carrot Weekend is not. So if you've heard overdoing Inner Circle away from there, this one is in Gelsenkirchen. This is one you need to make that big old trek through the city for. As for the Person Grand Prix itself, if you're looking front row, they're all gone. But pretty much everything else fully wide open. Festival tickets, there's plenty of free VIP balcony stuff if you want that. And then it's take your pick really for everything else. If it's the festival day tickets for individual shows, I'm not going to track because we've got them split in so many different variations.
Yeah.
It's going to be a headache. But plenty. If you're popping along and if you only doing the Friday and the Saturday, you can do that. If you only want to do the Extreme Wrestling Party and the Saturday night show, you can do that. Very much a a la carte offering for the Pro Wrestling Grand Prix if you want to go that route. But Mike, I guess there's anything else from the past couple of shows we want to bring up, or should we get going?
Let's get going. I think my only thoughts about the new format. Obviously, I've only sort of thought about this in the last couple of weeks. Is they're going to have like all of the afternoon show of Saturday is going to be the same as a evening show, but it's going to be very strange watching a show of that sort of level during the day, isn't it?
Yeah, so what they've said in terms of the layout, so Friday night, it's 2 Femme Fatale quarterfinals, 2 tag tournament quarterfinals, and 4 König to catch a block matches, so 8 matches there. Of course, Extreme Wrestling Party is going to be your clusterfucks. Show 2, that's the Saturday, 2 p.m., is the other 2 quarterfinals of Femme Fatale and tag tournament, and 2 König block matches, so 6 matches there. The Saturday night show, 7:30 p.m., is the semi-finals of the 2 knockout tournaments, 2 König to catch block matches, and then the Unified World Wrestling title match. Sunday's got a Wheel of Wrestling taping. Well, they never announced anything from that anyway. And then show 4 at 5:30 p.m. on the Sunday is basically the 2 tournament finals and whatever's left in König to catch, including the final Block A versus Block B winners. So, yeah, definitely, obviously the Saturday and the Sunday night is where the big stuff's going to be in terms of title matches and block finals. But obviously we're going to have to, sketch out the blocks, or at least who with the brackets and who's going to be facing who when, because I think a lot of people will be picking this or that depending on what those cards are going to be.
Yeah, it's just going to be odd, obviously, like because you usually your afternoon shows on your Saturdays is usually when you can sort of take it easy a little bit. They're not quite so not important. That's not the right word, but they're usually ones you can sort of relax a little bit more at. Whereas if they are they have implications for the whole weekend, it's going to be strange. But I'm looking forward to it anyway. It's an interesting format.
Yeah, you're not going to get like I'm using this as the showcase show where it's just everyone, having a 15-minute match fighting to get the crowd's attention and then hit a finish. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. That Saturday afternoon show is very much going to be an interesting one, especially, if people are very much hungover after the Extreme Wrestling Party. But we'll see how the thing's going to lie once we get the matches. But, Mike, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on twitter.com and Blue Sky and Instagram and everything, basically, at Mike Kilby, MikeKilby.
I can find myself Ian Wrestling, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky. Website, backbodydrop.com for all of the wXw reviews going forward and from the past best part of a decade at this point. But yeah, thanks so much for listening. If you haven't subscribed, of course, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, all the good podcast apps, and a few that aren't good, you can subscribe to us there. We're on YouTube as well. Subscribe, like, share, and all that good stuff. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next month after Shortcut to the Top, and of course the Pro Wrestling Grand Prix preview show. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Cheers.